So if you've been on YouTube very long, you've probably realized that balancing it with life, school, work is a challenge.
So in this video, we're gonna be sharing our 5 tips on how to get more done with less stress coming up.
Need help with the tech side of creating content? Our friends at Kingston Technology are posting new videos on YouTube regularly covering cameras, computers, and live streaming hacks. Personally, I love their photography tips series, not just for leveling up my Instagram game, but the tips also apply to making better videos. So if you want to check out that series and Kingston's channel, check out a link in the YouTube description below. Hey, what's up? Sean here.
Benji here.
And this is Video Influencers, helping you build your influence, income, and impact with online video.
And on this channel, we share weekly tips videos as well as interviews with some of the top influencers on this platform. So if you're new here, consider subscribing.
Burke Original asks, how do you create interesting content while still trying to balance being a full-time student and work? Thanks so much for the question. Let's get into it.
Tip number 1, priorities. It is so important to prioritize what needs to get done first. What is most important? Most people, they just have a list to dos and they just attack it randomly. What are the things that are gonna give you the best effect and get the most done in your life? And ask yourself, those other things that kind of prevent you from doing those priorities, what's the worst that can happen if it doesn't get done? So our first tip is priorities.
Absolutely. And the key here is that you don't want to just prioritize your schedule. You want to schedule your priorities. Meaning, at the beginning of every week, look at what you really want to accomplish. If you want to do a shoot day on YouTube, block that on your schedule. If you want some family time, your schoolwork, block those all out. And then that's going to allow you to fill your schedule with what matters most, and then not let friends or people calling you or people inviting you out dominate your time, because you already know what your priorities are.
Tip number 2, proper planning. It is so important to just sit down and plan your day, plan your week. I personally sit down at the beginning of the week, plan out every single day, and in the morning of that day, I have a little note card that I put what are my priorities, what do I need to get done, and I hit those in order. It is so important because you know what? We have never met a successful person that didn't have a plan, a planner, and had a schedule laid out so they knew what to get done first.
And we want to challenge you, plan your week with precision, like be specific, like block time out, use tools. Benji mentioned some of his. I personally use Google Calendar. It's totally free. You can just log in with your same YouTube account and get to your Google Docs, your Google Calendar, your Google Drive, all kinds of free tools there. I also use a passion planner. I also journal. And I just found that as you take time to really sit down and strategize, you get better results. Prior planning prevents poor performance. And as we all know, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So if you want to bring order to the chaos, definitely block time for planning. But one tip here is don't overplan. If we pack in too much, we won't get it done because we're not accounting for setbacks. We're not accounting for a little bit of margin. You want to make sure that you pack your calendar, but give yourself some rest time. Give yourself some time to allow for setbacks, fires that you might need to put out, and unexpected events.
Little side tip here, one of the powerful things about creating a plan, maybe you've never had a plan before, is if you follow that plan and you're consistent about it, it becomes a schedule. And if you follow that schedule religiously, week after week, year after year, it becomes a habit. And when things become a habit, you just do things instinctually. Don't get me wrong, I still have a plan that I follow, I have this schedule, but the habits is what creates the results in your life. And that's why it's so important to have a plan.
Now for tip number 3, when it comes to balancing YouTube content with work and life and school, is sacrifice. Now, sacrifice isn't very sexy to say, but it's so important. There's a quote from Beyonce, one of the most successful musicians of our time and one of the most productive, and she says, power means happiness, power means hard work, and sacrifice. And the reality is, there just isn't ever really success without sacrifice. So here's what we mean. You have to choose what you're not gonna do when time is short. You might be in a season where you can't watch Netflix that much. You can't binge 10 seasons of whatever show. You can't do what your other friends are doing, or you have to say no to certain events. Whenever you say no to something, you're saying yes to something else. Whenever you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else.
Another thing to keep in mind when it comes to sacrifice, just because you sacrifice right now, it doesn't mean you have to sacrifice forever. An example of this is motorcycles. I love riding bikes. It's beautiful outside, it's sunny, which is rare here in the Seattle area, but I sacrifice time riding that because I know if I hustle and I grind on my business now, that years later, I'm gonna have way more free time, not only to ride that bike, but maybe multiple bikes, right? And that's what we mean by sacrifice in the short term, because that is so important to give yourself more time to prioritize so that you can have the proper balance. And again, sacrifice doesn't mean forever.
Absolutely. I love that, Benji. And I think Dave Ramsey really summed that up in a quote when he said, "Live today like no one else, so that later in life you can live like no one else." You know, that quote really drove me when I was hustling. It's hard. Like, we empathize. When you're grinding on YouTube with all these other responsibilities, you're not really even feeling the results yet. It can be discouraging, but I had a vision for the fact that I want to sacrifice now for the reward that is down the road if I keep putting in the work.
Tip number 4, seasons. Ask yourself, what season of life are you in? You know, a lot of people, when they think about work-life balance, they're thinking about like a 24-hour day or even a week. I say look at your life as a year-long timeline. You know, a lot of people, they hustle, they get up, work out, they go to work, they have lunch, hang out with some friends, take care of family, you know, go to sleep, and they think that's it. Well, I actually think there's different seasons of life. Like, are there like months where you just have to work a lot more? Are you in school and maybe you have to hustle throughout the school year and you work on your business or your YouTube channel in the summer? Where are you in your life right now, and how can you prioritize where you put different aspects of what you want to focus on within the year?
Absolutely. It's such a good point, Benji, because, you know, seasons are going to change and some are busier than others. And you got to give yourself grace because, you know, sometimes you might not be able to be consistent on YouTube. Even though you know that we say upload at least once a week or at least 3 times a week, give yourself grace if you can't do that. When I was growing my channel, Think Media, I remember I would, maybe during the summer when I had a little more time, I would get a couple videos out a week, but then I might go dark for 2-3 months. That's not ideal, but you have to be realistic. So embrace the season that you're in and know that new seasons will come where you can probably focus more attention on what you want to focus on.
Another thing I want to bring up here is Sean and I have a huge project that we're working on right now. So we're not only sacrificing time from our current business, but also prioritizing this time to work on this project. And that's what we mean. We know that this season is getting ready for this launch of this project. And that's why it's so important to realize, like, you have a whole year. You have 10 years. You don't have to do everything in one day. You can really spread it out. And that's what we mean by seasons.
Tip number 5 is strategy. You know, when time is short and you have to balance school, balance work, balance family, you want to focus on the highest ROI, the highest return on investment efforts as possible. One thing to actually do some research on is the 80-20 rule. And that is that a lot of times 20% of our efforts will produce 80% of the results that we do. And a lot of times 80% of our efforts and our time will only produce 20% of the results we're getting. And so therefore, I want to focus on the 20%. For example, that's why we talk about ranking videos all the time. When I figured out how to rank videos, I thought, if I make one video that ranks in search, someone types in a search term, the video shows up, and then that video gets views, my friend Sunny calls that views while you snooze. Now you have a video working for you when you're not working. That's leverage, that's ROI. So that way you can have a little bit of peace when you're like, shoot, I can't upload, I can't actually focus on my YouTube channel. At least your channel keeps growing if you focus on highly leveraged content that keeps your channel growing on autopilot.
Another strategy I want to share with you is put the blinders on and focus, you know, especially with the technology we have, phones, computers, different tabs, when we're on the internet, it's so easy to get distracted. You know, oftentimes when I get the most done is when I put the phone away. I only have one tab open. I'm only focused on one task. One of the biggest challenges for balancing your life and work is you're trying to multitask. And we know that multitasking doesn't give you the most effective results. So focus, put the blinders on, and get the prioritized task done first.
And also think about strategy in every area. You know, for video influencers, we think about strategic events. This is a side project for Benji and I. So he has his projects that he's working on with his family. I've got my own business based out of Las Vegas. So a lot of times what we will do is we'll go to one event. And at that one event, we'll try to shoot as much content as possible in like 2 days. We recently went to Social Media Marketing World and we shot 20 interviews in 2 days. Now after that, I wanted to pass out, die, give up.
Yep.
But I'm so thankful because we release one video a week. That gave us 20 weeks of content. That's strategic thinking. That's foresight thinking. And that's highly leveraged for if you have a busy schedule and you're trying to balance lots of things.
Last strategy I want to share is delegate. You know, oftentimes when you're first starting out, you might feel overwhelmed and you might not have the resources to hire somebody, but if there's somebody in your life, you can ask for help. You know, Sean is a great example. When he first started Video Influencers, he was working a full-time job. He was running his other YouTube channels. And then we decided to start this channel on the side. And I remember he was amazing, his work ethic, doing everything. But as time went on, we both learned to delegate a lot of tasks. He delegated the editing of this content. I delegated some of the business administrative stuff. And that's why we're able to focus and get so much done, because we're delegating. Again, ask yourself who in your life can help you, or if you have the resources, who can you hire to help you get more done so that you have more time for the things that you want to prioritize in your world.
And finally, we found this quote that I think is great for this topic. And it says this: "Success is no accident. It is hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most of all, love of what you are doing or learning to do."
Question of the day: what are your tips for balancing work, life, and YouTube? Let us know in the comments area. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe and ring the bell if you're new here for more YouTube tech tips from our friends at Kingston. Click or tap the screen right here for more videos from Video Influencers. Click or tap the screen right here. As always, we're helping you build your influence, income, and impact with online video. Talk to you later.